Penguin Random House Audio presents The Genius of Jesus, the Man Who Changed Everything. This is the author, Erwin Raphael Mcmanus. Do you know Boogie McManus Goss? This book is dedicated to you. As I write these words, we have not yet formally been introduced. We will meet soon, but the love affair has already begun. You are the daughter of my daughter, and that means that you are doubly loved. You spent your first year growing inside of the most extraordinary human you will ever know. The scriptures tell us that before you were born, God knew you. Before you took your first breath, He called you out. He gave you to the best dad and mom you could ever hope for. We call them Jake and Mariah. He gave you an uncle named Erwin Mcmanus, who will always be there for you. He gave you an aunt named Patty, and her family can't wait to meet you. He gave you to an incredible family from whom you get the name Goss. They are from Arkansas, and they love you as much as we do. And of course, He gave you your grandma Kim, who adores you already. She will be your favorite. Me? I'm your grandpa. My name is Erwin. I wrote this book for you. Before you take your first breath, I want you to know you're a genius. There has never been, nor will there ever be, born on this earth anyone like you. You are unique, one of a kind. Welcome to the world. We need you here. Never question how much you are loved. Just like the oxygen you will breathe with every breath, never thinking about it twice, so will you forever be surrounded by and enveloped by love. Our love and the unfailing love Jesus has for you will always be there for you. Never forget that God is love, and that you have been created as an object of His love. He is the source of all your soul will ever long for in this life. I hope you read this book one day, and that it helps you discover your own genius. But if you forget everything I have written in this book, please never forget this. I love you. Salvi. Chapter 1. The Genius. I have spent my entire adult life studying genius and searching for God. I always saw those pursuits as mutually exclusive, one a question of human potential, and the other a matter of faith. But the longer you live, the more you begin to realize that things you once thought were disparate narratives in your life were actually always interwoven. My fascination with genius and my openness to God were both rooted in a desperate search for something to translate my life from the mundane to the transcendent. Although my search was academic, it was always far more personal. Growing up, I felt trapped within my own limitations, and I longed to find a path to a higher, better self. I was Peter Parker before the radioactive spider bit him. I hoped there was something extraordinary within me, within us all, that could transform us to our most heroic selves. Most of my friends envied athletes or musicians or actors. I envied philosophers, scientists, and inventors. Anyone who could see something that was invisible to everyone else. I could live with someone being faster or stronger or smarter than me. I just didn't want to be blind to the endless possibilities of the unknown. The fear, of course, was that there was no genius within me to be found. No God who could awaken my originality, or at least make up for my lack of it. One thing I have learned over my lifetime: we search for what we lack, and we long for what we fear we don't possess. I longed to be more than a meaningless composite of carbon, so I became a student of genius and an explorer in search of God. I am convinced that when we experience expressions of genius, it elevates our own personal capacity. Once you see it done, you know it's possible. When one human accomplishes the extraordinary, it becomes a measure for all who follow them. Would Kobe Bryant have become a superstar if there had been no Michael Jordan? Would there be a Stephen Hawking if there had not been an Albert Einstein? Would there be an Elon Musk if there had not been a Nikola Tesla? Greatness inspires greatness. Genius provokes genius. There are a handful of people who consistently make the list of history's greatest geniuses. My list always begins with Leonardo da Vinci, the quintessential Renaissance man. His genius touched nearly every field of human endeavor. He was an inventor, artist, architect, scientist, musician, mathematician, sculptor, engineer, astronomer, botanist, cartographer, and so much more. He was a futurist of unparalleled insight, foreshadowing the invention of the submarine and the helicopter. Although he only completed 15 works of art throughout his lifetime, he is considered perhaps the greatest painter of all time. There are so many others who come to mind. In the arena of music, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Ludwig van Beethoven used the same 12 notes to generate the complexity, beauty, and artistry of classical music. In the field of science, there are Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, and more recently, Stephen Hawking. In film, the directors Orson Welles and Alfred Hitchcock set the bar for transcendent storytelling. In the game of chess, there was Bobby Fischer, who set a standard of genius in a game of intellect. In the world of technology and business, we have the undeniable genius of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Each of these individuals has unique attributes that set them apart not only from the rest of the world, but from the best in the world. They saw the world differently. They created a future that would not have existed without them. Like Copernicus and Galileo, they violated our view of reality and forced us to see the world anew. Their ideas have resulted in space travel and solar energy. They have given us a way to fight cancer and a way to save our planet. They have given us the internet and the tools to explore and express our own creativity. Once we saw the world through their eyes, we could never see the world the same way again. The concept of genius was birthed in the writings of the Greek philosophers. In Plato's works, Socrates speaks of the daemons that inspire the genius of great men. From medicine to mathematics, from philosophy to physics, the Greeks were a fountainhead of accomplishment. Their world was the birthplace of Homer, Pythagoras, Euclid, Hippocrates, Aristotle, Archimedes, and of course, Alexander the Great. For them, genius was awakened when the divine touched the human. Those moments when the heroes of old rose above the status of ordinary men. Some expressions of human creativity were so transcendent, they could only be attributed to the gods. By the time of the Roman Empire, the cast of genius had become more concrete. The Romans attributed genius to a place or a person's position, rather than to the person themselves. It was assumed that simply being crowned Caesar meant a person carried the mark of genius, an assumption that history has proved flatly wrong. Still, the Romans were perceptive in noticing that a person was neither a genius nor a possessor of genius. We are possessed by genius. It's something given to us, something entrusted to us. Genius was seen as an endowment that came or went at the whim of the gods. Genius is inseparable from the creative process. The word genius is expressive of the capacity to be generative. The genius gives birth to something new. The genius creates. The mark of true genius is that the impossible becomes possible. The unknowable becomes knowable. The invisible becomes visible. The genius speaks the future into existence. Genius expresses itself in every domain in which humans create. Wherever there is a field of human accomplishment, there is potential for the expression of genius. The genius does not always have the highest IQ, the best education, or even the most comprehensive knowledge of their field. But their combination of originality, imagination, creativity, perspective, passion, and intelligence merge together to help them see the world differently and then create a different world. While we often attribute the title of genius to an individual, that designation only comes as a result of the extraordinary nature of their work. There must be something we can point to and describe as a genuine work of genius. Yet these works of genius are rarely acknowledged by their contemporaries. Often geniuses are met with jealousy and resistance.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?